It means setting boundaries that honor your needs, your peace, and your growth. You don't allow anyone to take advantage of you, manipulate you, or diminish your light. You stop questioning whether you're worthy of the best because you know you are. It's about making decisions that protect your well-being, prioritizing your happiness, and refusing to be in situations that drain you or make you feel small. When you know your worth, you stand firm in the truth of who you are, and you allow yourself to grow and evolve without apologizing for it. When you know your worth, you stop chasing after validation from others. You don't need constant approval or attention to feel whole. Your self-esteem is built on your own understanding of yourself, not on how others see you. You trust that you have something valuable to offer, whether it's love, compassion, talent, or wisdom. You understand that being kind and generous doesn't mean you should allow others to take advantage of your goodness. Knowing your worth also means recognizing when it's time to walk away from people or situations that don't align with your values or bring out the best in you. It's not about holding grudges or being unforgiving. It's about recognizing that you deserve to be surrounded by those who see you for who you truly are and treat you accordingly. It's empowering yourself to make decisions that nurture your spirit and protect your energy. Know your worth means recognizing and understanding the value you bring to any relationship, situation, or environment. It's the unwavering belief that you deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, and love. Not because of anything you have to prove, but because it's inherent to who you are. Knowing your worth is not about arrogance, it's about self-awareness. It's understanding that your time, energy, and emotions are precious. When you truly grasp this, you begin to make choices that align with your value, and you stop settling for less than you deserve. Respecting your boundaries is about recognizing your personal limits and the things that keep you emotionally and physically healthy. Way of showing love and care for yourself by understanding what you are willing to tolerate and what you are not. Your boundaries are not arbitrary. They're rooted in values, your experiences, and your sense of self. They serve as a shield that protects your peace and well-being, allowing you to maintain a sense of autonomy in your relationships and life. When you respect your boundaries, you are honoring your feelings, needs, and desires. You're choosing not to sacrifice your comfort or peace for the sake of others. Sometimes respecting your boundaries means saying no when people ask for something that doesn't feel right or doesn't align with your needs. It can mean stepping back from situations that drain you, even if it feels uncomfortable. It might also involve expressing your thoughts and feelings clearly to others so they understand your limits and can respect them. It's also important to recognize that setting boundaries isn't about controlling others, it's about taking control of your own life. Boundaries are not walls that keep others out, they are clear guidelines about how you expect to be treated. They help prevent you from being manipulated, overextended, or taken for granted. When someone crosses a boundary you've set, it's not just about the act itself, it's a sign that your needs or emotions are being disregarded. And in those moments, respecting your boundaries means being strong enough to address the situation and enforce them even if it's uncomfortable or difficult. In relationships, respecting your boundaries helps create a space where both parties can thrive. It fosters mutual understanding, trust, and support, and it sets the tone for how you allow others to treat you. When you respect your boundaries, you make it clear that you are worthy of being treated with care and consideration. It's not a matter of being rigid or inflexible, but of honoring your inner truth and protecting what matters most to you. Trust is the foundation upon which every meaningful relationship is built. Without trust, relationships are like houses without solid ground, fragile, unstable, and prone to crumbling. Trust is not something you can simply demand from others. It's something that must be earned, nurtured, and maintained over time. It's about knowing that the person you're with has your best interests at heart and that you can rely on them when it matters most. Trust creates a space of safety where vulnerability is welcomed and honesty flows freely. When trust is present, there's a sense of security in knowing that your words, your feelings, and your intentions are taken seriously. It allows you to be open, to express your emotions, and to show up as your true self without fear of judgment or betrayal. Trust is what allows us to let down our guard and be vulnerable, knowing that the person we're with will hold our heart with care, not misuse it. It's about having the confidence that someone will keep their promises and be there when they say they will. Respecting your boundaries also means protecting your time and energy. You cannot be everything to everyone, and trying to do so will leave you feeling empty and drained. Learning to say no, to put your needs first, and to walk away from situations that violate your boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. It's about prioritizing your emotional and mental health, even when it feels hard to let go or disappoint others.
When emotions are allowed to take the lead, they create a sense of urgency or panic that can lead to hasty decisions. For example, fear might lead someone to make overly cautious choices, avoiding risk, even when taking that risk might be the best course of action. Conversely, anger or frustration might prompt someone to make aggressive decisions or react too quickly without fully evaluating the situation or its potential consequences. Emotions in high-stakes situations distort the way we process information and weigh our options, often leading us to make decisions that are more about managing the emotional state than about addressing the problem at hand.
But trust is delicate. It can take years to build and just moments to break. Once someone breaks that trust, whether through dishonesty, betrayal, or neglect, the bond begins to weaken. It's not something that can be taken lightly, and it's difficult to restore once it's been damaged. Even if someone says they're sorry or promises to change, the hurt caused by a broken trust doesn't disappear overnight. Trust is earned through consistent actions, not just words. It's demonstrated in the way people show up for you when you need them, in their reliability, and in the honesty with which they communicate. And when trust is broken, it's not just about the specific lie or action. It's about the underlying message that you're not valued enough for them to be truthful, transparent, or dependable. And while it's possible for some to rebuild trust over time, it requires both parties to be willing to put in the work, to be patient, and to be honest about what went wrong. Without this mutual commitment, the relationship will likely continue to feel shaky, as though the ground beneath you is always shifting. Trust also isn't just about the other person, it's about how you trust yourself. It's about your own ability to make choices that honor your values and your needs. When you trust your own judgment and instincts, you empower yourself to make decisions that protect your peace and well-being. Trusting yourself is just as vital as trusting others because it gives you the clarity to see red flags, to recognize when someone's actions don't align with their words, and to act accordingly. Emotional abuse often starts subtly with the erosion of your self-esteem and confidence. It can come in the form of constant criticism, belittling, or gaslighting, where someone makes you doubt your perception of reality. This type of abuse can be particularly damaging because it wears away at your mental health and leaves scars that aren't always visible. Over time, emotional abuse can make you feel like you're not enough, like you're unworthy of love or respect. It chips away at your spirit and keeps you in a state of constant insecurity. But even though it might not leave physical marks, it is just as damaging as any other form of abuse. Verbal abuse can be equally damaging, as the words someone uses have the power to build or destroy. Insults, threats, name-calling, and shouting are all tactics used to break you down emotionally. The words might stay in your mind long after they've been spoken, festering and leaving you feeling worthless. Over time, verbal abuse can destroy your sense of self, leaving you questioning your value and your ability to speak up for yourself. Words are powerful, and when used to tear someone down, they become a weapon. Physical abuse, on the other hand, is undeniable. It can come in the form of slaps, punches, pushing, or any act of violence meant to hurt you or assert dominance over you. The scars from physical abuse may fade, but the emotional and psychological trauma can linger for years. No one has the right to lay hands on you in anger, to use their strength to intimidate or control you. Physical abuse is never acceptable, no matter the circumstance or justification that is given. It's an immediate red flag, and it should never be tolerated under any circumstances. No matter the form of abuse, the core message is the same. You do not deserve to be treated in a way that diminishes your value, your humanity, or your sense of safety. Abuse is never your fault. You are not to blame for someone else's violent or controlling behavior. It is not something you should tolerate because you hope the person will change or because you feel guilty or responsible for their actions. You are not their caretaker or their therapist. You are not responsible for fixing someone who is actively hurting you. Your primary responsibility is to yourself. to protect your mental, physical, and emotional well-being at all costs. When you face abuse, it's crucial to recognize that you are worthy of more. You are worthy of kindness, respect, and love. You deserve to live in a space where you are safe, valued, and treated with the dignity you deserve. Walking away from an abusive situation is an act of self-love, of claiming your right to live free from fear and harm. Never tolerate abuse, not from anyone, not at any time. Your peace and safety are priceless, and no one has the right to take that from you. Effort and consistency are the cornerstones of any lasting and meaningful relationship. They are what turn words into actions and intentions into reality. When someone truly cares about you, they don't just show up when it's convenient or when they need something from you. They show up consistently in good times and bad. It's not enough to say, "I love you" or "I care about you" in moments of need. Those words need to be backed by the consistent effort of showing up, being present, and contributing to the relationship in a real way every single day. Psychological abuse, though less visible, is perhaps one of the most insidious forms of harm. It involves manipulation, controlling behavior, and forcing you to question your sense of reality. This might include isolating you from friends and family, undermining your confidence, or intentionally creating confusion to destabilize your sense of self. The goal of psychological abuse is to break you down slowly, to make you feel as though you are nothing without the abuser. It's a constant game of power and control that leaves you feeling small, helpless, and trapped. Effort isn't always grand gestures or big acts. Sometimes it's the small, everyday things that matter most. It's the little acts of kindness, the text messages just to check in, the thoughtful conversations, or the willingness to put aside your own needs to help the other person when they're struggling. Effort is about making the other person feel valued, seen, and heard, even when life gets busy or things get tough. It's about putting in the work even when it's not easy, and showing through your actions that you prioritize the relationship. Consistency is equally important because love and care are not fleeting, they are built over time. Being consistent doesn't mean being perfect, but it does mean being reliable and dependable. It's about making sure that the care you show isn't just a momentary spark that fades when the next distraction comes along. Instead, it's about building trust, comfort, and safety through continued efforts. It's about knowing that no matter what challenges or changes arise, the effort remains steadfast. Effort and consistency are also how we measure a person's true intentions. Talk can be cheap, but actions never lie. If someone truly values you, they will show it. Not just once, but over and over again. They'll show up in the small, ordinary moments, and they'll put in the work to ensure that you feel loved, cared for, and important. This is what sustains relationships in the long run, what allows them to grow deeper and stronger as time goes on. Consistency also fosters a sense of security. It's not about expecting someone to be perfect all the time, but it's about knowing that their care and effort aren't temporary. When someone shows up consistently, it builds trust that you can rely on them, even when life gets complicated. It means they're committed to putting in the effort, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, when things aren't going perfectly, or when the world feels chaotic. They stay present, grounded, and committed to the relationship, and that creates a sense of safety for both people involved. When effort and consistency are present, it's easier to weather the storms that life inevitably brings, whether it's personal challenges, misunderstandings, or moments of conflict. Knowing that both parties are committed to putting in the effort to solve problems and stay connected makes all the difference. It's that steady, dependable presence that keeps the bond intact, that reminds both people that no matter the hardship, they're in it together. It's not about perfection, it's about showing up again and again with care, thoughtfulness, and reliability. Accountability is a critical element in any relationship or personal growth journey because it establishes trust, responsibility, and mutual respect. When we hold ourselves accountable, we acknowledge our actions, both good and bad, and take ownership of the consequences that follow. It's about being honest with ourselves and others, recognizing that our decisions and behavior have an impact on the people around us. Accountability isn't just about admitting when we've done something wrong. It's about continuously being aware of how our actions align with our values and the commitments we've made. Without effort, relationships can feel one-sided. If one person is always the one to initiate, plan, or put in the emotional labor, it leads to imbalance. Over time, this can create resentment, frustration, and feelings of being undervalued. Relationships thrive when both people invest in them equally, when both partners give their time, energy, and attention in ways that support and nurture the connection. If only one person is carrying the weight, it becomes exhausting, and the relationship begins to feel like a burden instead of a source of joy. In relationships, accountability plays a vital role in maintaining trust and emotional safety. If someone consistently avoids responsibility for their actions, whether it's by deflecting blame, making excuses, or failing to address their mistakes, it undermines the connection and breeds doubt. When accountability is missing, it creates an environment where communication breaks down, and one person may feel as if they are carrying the weight of the relationship, while the other remains detached or unaware of their impact. This lack of accountability often leads to resentment, frustration, and emotional disconnection. In the end, your peace, your well-being, and your self-worth are the most valuable things you possess. Never compromise them for anyone or anything. Understand that the people who respect you will honor your boundaries, put in the effort, be accountable, and treat you with the care you deserve. The ones who don't simply don't deserve another chance. Protect your peace fiercely, trust yourself, and always remember, you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness, not as a reward for someone else's actions, but simply because you are enough. Life is too short to settle for anything less than the love, respect, and peace you deserve. Never allow anyone or anything to steal your joy. You have the power to create the life and relationships that honor who you truly are. So stand strong in your worth, protect your peace, and always walk away from what no longer serves your highest good.